All right, everyone, welcome to Sister Witches Book 4 Book Club Round 2. The first round we will not be posting. This will be the round we post, which is awesome. Excited to have you all
keep
here.
it clean. Keep it clean.
It is clean. It's clean.
Keep it clean.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, like there's so much dirty to share.
I better not talk.
Good
I
one.
wanted to say in and say hi, guys. I gotta pop off, but you guys have a great book club tonight.
We'll miss you. This is such a fun one.
Nice seeing you.
Bye.
See you guys.
Good night, Kim.
Have fun.
Okay. What'd
Can
you
I
say,
say
Terry?
something?
Yeah, go for it, Terry.
Since I haven't even started book 4 yet, because I've been
Oh!
working. Listen carefully. I've been working on certain aspects of leather.
Did you say something about leather?
I said, yeah, I'm working on leather and not reading.
Terry.
Anyhow, long short story is I wanted to say hi to everybody because I keep missing all the different coffee with Katie's because I'm busy doing stuff like physical therapy and, anyway, I'm doing well. Knee doesn't bother me too bad. I can walk around. I do all those kind of things, but primary right now, I'm trying to get my skill level back up. It's amazing when you don't work with it for 2 months. You tend to forget what you're doing and your skill level kind of drops out.
Yeah.
So that, and I can't spell worth beans when you can't spell sauna, you're really in trouble.
I mean, that's 3 letters you're working with there, man.
Well, you put them in the wrong order, that doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Anyhow, I thought I'd say hi and goodbye.
I'm so glad you did.
Hi.
Thanks for jumping in, Terry. Yeah, we don't want to spoil it for you. This is definitely not going to get spoiled.
No, that's the reason why I was being honest and saying goodbye.
Good for
Have
you.
a great time, and we'll catch you a little bit later.
Sounds good. Thanks,
Okay,
Terry.
Terry.
Take care of yourself.
See ya.
Good to see you.
Good to see you guys.
Okay, so
We're dwindling.
I know. We had Garrett and Carol and Karen and Andy on the noon call, right? So I have some other fun deep dive questions that Carrie gave me that we can go into, but Lila and Diane haven't had a chance to really dig into and talk about this. So we kind of already went character by character and plot by plot, but we can do that again because there's a lot to say. I don't know, but Lila might.
I don't think Layla wants to say anything.
Lila, why don't you start?
I was laughing at myself going, does that say something about me? Because I cracked up laughing when the gargoyles stomped on him.
Good for you. Yeah, I was like, yay.
You were laughing?
I laughed.
I wasn't laughing. I was like
doing the dishes and I was laughing. And then I went, wow. What's that say? What's that saying?
You were
about
laughing
me
about what,
I'm
Lila?
laughing at that.
What were you laughing about?
The gargoyle stomping.
Our gargoyles.
That's pretty awesome. I love
Good.
it. At least you didn't cry.
Don't. I thought it was so funny. I just went, oh, and I love the gargoyles. Oh my goodness, I love the gargoyles.
Were you excited about them coming to Max's aid?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
yeah.
just descriptions and everything. I was just going, yeah, I see it, I feel it, I'm there.
I love that
she's
Charlie
doing the
told him that.
That's awesome.
Well, when Max realized that they would actually come help him was a big thing too. When he asked.
Because he was like, anytime now.
I know. He was going to go down.
Did you guys, when Max receives the letter from Charlie and Charlie's like, they're loyal, whatever, they'll come. Did you guys know know what that was? Or were you kind of thinking you knew what it was?
I was thinking it was that. Because you said something earlier one time that, about them, something going to happen. And I'm like, what?
And besides, I'm obsessed with them. So I was just like going, yep.
They're huge, right? Like I picture
Yeah.
them like gorillas almost. Like
That's
big,
why the gorilla was such a great like comparison. So
like
people
stone
can like,
gorilla. Can you imagine?
yeah. So if people can't visualize, they can at least see a gorilla and go, oh yeah, okay, you
Yeah,
know.
good stuff. I loved. I've had that like scene in my head for a while that I didn't know when it would come, but I knew that there was going to be a moment where the gargoyles like Max sort of realized his position as master of Wild Rose, and in that like same storyline that the gargoyles like come to kind of drive that plot point home. And so when I was writing it, I was like, oh my gosh, I was like so into the scene. And then I had to go through it so many times because I just kept getting distracted by it, or I was just like so excited. And I was like writing it really fast, and I had to like go layer stuff in. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this ending is so crazy.
And the way they disappear, I like that too. That like nobody else sees it. Like it's just like
We
all
talked
witnesses are
earlier
stomped.
about how they were sad that Charlie missed him by like seconds.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Poor Charlie.
I kind of liked it though, because it was kind of it made it, well, he just had to do it on the fact of like knowing it did happen, you know, and enjoy that. And because it kind of wasn't his to see.
Exactly. We said he hadn't earned it, and Max had.
Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't. Yeah.
Charlie hadn't earned it for sure. Anything else you're bursting over, Lila?
The other part I was laughing at was when Sana did that what's the word for it, you know, when she was pretending to be
Salsa?
She was projecting.
Salsa. You know, when she was doing the like using her voice, like you know, when she was, my goodness, I was laughing so much.
You know what's funny about Sana and Sensei is I basically see them as like the same caricature of a person, right? Like they're both like a little reclusive, a little crotchety, like hard to break in, you know, like they have the things they love. And so putting Sana against Sensei is always like my favorite thing because I feel like it's
so fun.
Sana confronting herself with more power.
It was so great.
Yeah. Did you
and even the way, sorry.
No, you're fine. I would say, did you notice? I'm sure all of you did, just that it said basically almost as if a goddess was helping her, right? Like she's like trying to do this. She's not sure it's working, then all of a sudden she realizes, oh, Selsei actually.
Yeah.
Because she changed it. She talked like in that there's witch's language too.
She's like, what?
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna go with this.
I'm gonna go with it.
Imagine like talking and then it's coming out a different language. That would be like psycho. That would be so psycho.
And your narration was so cool with it because it was like I could really sort of like I like puffed up my chest and I'm going, yeah, you know, get it. And then that's why I was just giggling at all the stuff that was coming out. I was just going, oh, I love it. This is just too hilarious. I could imagine you laughing and smiling while you were writing it.
Oh my god.
Love how he just kept on piling like, and you're gonna be cursed and all your generations. And she just kept
to the 9th generation.
And we're gonna come after you. You'll never be able to rest. And then it's just like, oh, now they're all covered in rocks. Okay, next.
I feel like that when I'm punishing my kids sometimes. Like, you're never leaving your room, and then I'm never giving you a cell phone. Like, you're just so in it for sure. Yeah, I love
Put
that.
out the big guns there, no cell phone.
I know. My kids are 4 and 7, right? Like, it just feels that angry. I love it when she really got into it and she was saying all those things. She's like, well, we gotta scare them, right? Like they don't ever want to come back. Andy, didn't you say that you were interested in the witches behind like all of that? Like you wanted to know more about the witches and what they did with the mountain dragons?
You know, they've always, you know, like, okay, so they speak Elise and they speak this and that, and they always peg them from where they are. But these witches were like, where the heck are they from? I mean, they're not from the north, or they're not the South, you know, they're not like specific pinned placed. I don't know if I'm explaining myself.
No, yeah, they were from different tribes in the West.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mm.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I don't know that I like nailed that down as much in the narrative as I did in my head for various
Yeah.
reasons. But
I was curious from like where they were from, for one. And then the other thing was, what does that have to do? I thought it was gonna have to do something with the Cimmerian,
oh, Sumerian, yeah.
that it was that their blood was gonna have to be part of a ritual or whatever.
Hmm. Well, I've been noodling this today since our call, Andy. And I think there's
Have a look at the email. Yeah, have a look at the email I sent you too, because
Oh, I
have
did.
done you this.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought as I was playing
I
with the
didn't want to say
conversation,
them. I didn't want to say them on
damn
here.
it, Lila. Then I was like, Lila sends me these ideas as she makes Alcaran art, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, and then I get this great big idea. So Lila just blew open the Great Library of Burke idea. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I just had like, I saw it and I was like, whoa, I just got like a flood of ideas, and then my son's like, your turn. So I had to act like I didn't see it. It's a problem. It's a problem. I said this earlier, but I'm going to record it here so all of you know. I was talking to someone the other day and they said to me, well, you already have 55 books in Alcara. Where does this end? And I was like, I'm sorry. And he was
What?
like, where does it end? And I was like, why is it ending? He's like, well, like, when are you going to stop writing books in Alcara? And I was like, why would I stop writing books in Alcara? Like, we were not picking up what each other was putting down. He could not understand why I would continue to. And I was like, well, why would I stop if my readers want more? I could literally do anything I wanted. I was like, I'll just get a new continent on the earth or something. I don't know. So I told him, I was like, well, like at the very least minimum, there would be like 100. And he was like, 100 minimum. I was like, who is this guy? Anyway, he's very sweet. He just hasn't met anyone like me. Anyway, Diane, what about you? What are your thoughts, or what ones do you want to talk about?
Well, I told you I like that scene where she finally tells Max she's pregnant, and I love the way he acted. It was just so nice.
Are you guys feeling still invested in their romance? Like, do you like Isadora and Max's relationship still, even though we're so many books in and
Oh yeah.
they're married?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Like,
Oh yeah. They're growing, and he's growing a lot.
he's got a lot of growing to do.
Mhm.
He's got a lot of
She
growing.
does too. She does too. It's a dance together, I reckon.
Mhm.
They, they both have stuff to sort of like, it's like with her, it's like just say it. Just say it. There's not a perfect time. Perfect does not exist. Just say it. Like
Lila, were you giving her advice while you were
And her and
listening?
Roxy's conversation
yeah, I was just like,
But that's
is
the
it- is
reality.
it, like
That's the reality. People try to put it off till the perfect time. So
Yeah. That's
yeah, and that's the only reason I was forgiving. I was going, okay, I get it. You're reflecting and mirroring so many people so they can relate, but tell him.
Like, I don't have the patience for this. Just get on.
Yeah.
It is.
romance.
Oh, go ahead,
And,
Andy.
and I really like that we're getting to see how a romance matures, because in the other books, like the coffee shop girl, you only get to see they falling in love and then they get together and that's it. Here we get to see a bit more ahead and see how people really, romance is just the beginning, and then keeping that love alive and all that relationship working is another level, and it's more ahead. It's not just we're going out on a date, we're courting, I'm gonna give you flowers and whisper sweet little things in your ear. This is on day to day, how that romance going, and that it doesn't end just because you got together.
Yeah. Like, the hard part happens when you get together. Like,
right.
yeah. Well, I was just curious because so many romance lovers come at the book just for that like initial phase, right? Like you don't get a lot of stories that do the maturation of a relationship, but you guys are invested in more than just the romance. Like you love these characters and you love all the auras. So it's a different relationship with the books altogether. So, but I was just curious, what were your thoughts on what happened to Isadora at the end?
Oh, that's sad.
I thought it was appropriate.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I'm with Karen. I knew why and all the rest of it. And I'm sorry, Karen, I interrupted.
Because knowing her mom's history, it shouldn't have been that easy for her.
Yeah.
I like that she got to hear her mother, telling her how many times and all that. That was really a nice bonding moment.
Her and Roxy needed that, I think. I think Isadora needed that too, like from her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that Roxy didn't tell her while she was still pregnant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would have, like in Roxy's position.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. What do you want to finish your thought, Lila?
I was just going to say I liked how you handled all of that, because I thought it was like, because I know a lot of people who still struggle with that, with all of that. So to not make it something that wasn't discussed, you know what I mean? Like to make it something that was respectfully handled.
Yeah.
That's how I felt it was anyway.
Were any of you like surprised by it, or did you sort of see it building that way?
I kind of saw it building.
Mm-hmm.
It was like because of the Vivian, we've been going like this parallel thing with Vivian and Stuart, and so they had tragedy. So I kind of went, this is not gonna go as planned, and it's not. It's gonna be a bit tragic. So the tragedy had to be either that or Max. So Max was not gonna be gone anytime soon. So it definitely had to be the other part.
You guys are like just always braced for tragedy.
Yeah, you're not
afraid
of that.
Yeah, death here and there, that's the way it is.
I'm always worried about Ludius too. I'm like, he's not going to die yet, is he?
Well, we're not actually, but I only hope it's
because I'm going to be devastated during that one.
Max and Ludius are the big ones.
Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about it yet because I'll just like choke up.
All I'm going to say is just give me a heads up not to listen to the book while I'm in a store. That's all I'm asking.
So, Garrett, if I say stop at chapter so and so if you're in a store, then just
something.
You will have a warning there, baby boy. You'll have a warning.
I don't want to look like a complete idiot in the middle of an account.
You're like,
that's all I'm saying.
He was talking to a guy who doesn't like his job.
About that.
I don't know. I kind of want to see this. Oh, that's awesome.
And Wally, I love Wally. Wally's so great.
I do love Wally.
Isn't he great? He's just such a
He's
great
gonna be the
addition.
next ambassador. I just know it.
It's funny because Max says it at one point. He goes, he can have it.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's so good with him. He's so good with Max. It's like they just really complement each other. And I love that.
Wally's a fun one. I really like Wally too.
Yeah.
He can have it. I started thinking, okay, so is Charlie gonna convince Max for an idiot-proof death, or or what's gonna fake his death, or what?
Never pull that off.
Because he seems to be getting kind of tired of being an ambassador and not having.
But he doesn't have to have a death. He can just retire.
I know.
Being Charlie's friend and
Right.
blood, like brother.
What did you guys think of the death of a high priest scene?
That was fantastic.
Oh,
Oh my God, I thought I was gonna die laughing.
I know. It was just like, it wasn't, I won't say I expected it, but I reveled in it.
You know, my favorite part of that whole scene is the art theme that he chooses, Fools in History. That's my favorite. I was like cracking up when I was editing that. I was like, I forgot I put that. Like sometimes I have these weird experiences like, oh my gosh, that's dang funny. And I don't remember writing it. Like I'm like, that was great. Like that was a great idea to pull that in. I don't remember writing it. And that was one of those things I'm like, oh, that's funny. Like that was well chosen. Like I'm not wrote it.
And I love the fact that you made the next the high priestess the high priestess, that she just went, nah, I'm not buying it.
Yeah. Felicity like,
what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
Nah, and I love that. Yeah, I love that.
I love
That was
too
good.
the head of protectors, what's his name? He's in on it.
Right.
He thinks it's
Right.
funny. He's just like,
Oh,
this is
so good.
great. Like this is great entertainment. That makes me laugh every time. Yeah. It's just so funny.
But you,
Well, and I love when Charlie, gets something that, oh man, dying is tough. Like, well, okay, Charlie, just,
Okay.
get up there, buddy.
He's just wanted to do that his whole life. Charlie just cracks me up. He's just really funny. So what were your thoughts on, we're gonna bounce over to Sana. What were your thoughts on Sana and Ludius being at odds with each other? This is the first we've really seen them actually like have, not, I mean like disagreements, whatever, but like an actual, we're standing on opposite sides of this. It's coming between us. This is the first real friction we've seen between them.
had to
I
happen.
loved it. I didn't have an issue with it because it was done so well. It wasn't done, oh, am I allowed to say that word? Anyway, in a PISS manner, PISSY manner.
Oh, I was like, what?
We're all trying to like spell in our head.
I didn't think that was
You know what I mean? Well, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I feel like it was born out of like a circumstance that made sense for them to disagree on. Like it wasn't a fluff disagreement. It was very much they stood on different sides of this because they're different species, right? Like end of the day, he's a dragon. Did it stress any of you out?
No.
No, I'm not stressed out.
It
was a growing thing. They had to do it.
And Santa was realizing how much they were like depending on each other too much.
I feel like that's a constant in Sana's life.
Yeah.
Oh, he's talking too much. Oh no, again. Anyway. Wait, what was that? What did you say?
Read the chat.
Garrett.
Oh.
He
was talking about. So Garrett sent a message that said, "It's fine. I called a guy a dick on the one earlier today." You were saying that about what's his face, the bad guy,
Teddy.
Teddy. Thank you. We're like, "What do you think about Teddy, Garrett?" And he's like, "He's a dick." You're not wrong, right? Not wrong.
Teddy the turd.
Yeah, he's a turd. Teddy the turd. Teddy the turd, for sure. Lila, I'm curious what you think of this because we tied Faline Borg into the Sumerian magic and the Periculum and Parasinium. Are you guys excited to learn more about how these all connect?
And you know that, and I don't think I didn't notice. I was sitting there going, oh, morsel of Caroline, oh, morsel of the library, oh, morsel of Faline Borg, and I've got them all in a little pouch going, okay, I've got all these little puzzle pieces. How are they going to come together now? Like I could just see the big picture coming through when you bring it through. It's like, yay! That's like the room, I feel. All those rooms.
How do these go together? So the Parasinium and Periculum and Sign of the Sand Tiger and all of that stuff actually will tie into the historical collection book The Witch Without Magic, which is about Isramana. It takes place in the tribes of the West and does actually explain the origin point of Faline Borg and what it is in the Network series and Network Saga. So that one is
And I
explained.
love that it has that symbol. I love the symbol part for me is really strong because it's a visual thing, you know, and I'm going, I love that, you know, because I can see it other places, you know, and yeah.
And that'll be on the cover, right?
potential for
Oh.
Tiger will be on the cover of the book because Jenny's amazing. And she
yeah.
does-
Oh, cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
really fun. So we were talking about this at noon. So of course I've been thinking about it in the back. Of like after we finish the Sisterwitches saga, I think it finishes in like November or December. I can't remember. We'll probably do 3 months of historical collection books, depending on what readers vote. If readers are totally against it, we won't. But I think you'll all be for it. We'll do Wild Rose, The Great Library of Berk, and The Witch Without Magic, which
All right.
so then you get those 3. I might even just call it Faline Borg instead of The Witch Without Magic. It might just be Faline Borg, but we'll see. Because that's a weird title.
Yeah.
So weird. Anyway, so I'm thinking those 3 will come, and then we'll go into the next Bianca series. So that's kind of what we're looking at, which is awesome.
I would love it.
Katie, have you ever told us how the South lost their magic? I know they broke the Mansfield Pact, but have you ever explained who did what in order for that to happen? I don't think you have you?
High priest.
Yeah, it was the High Priest. Yeah, he invaded the Southern Network or the Central Network. So Bianca and Martin were down by the wall. They were in the Southern Covens down by the Southern Network wall, and there's all these South guards on the wall in the High Priest's daughter. And
okay.
Then there was like this explosion where they blew the wall apart, and then the Southern Network invaded the Southern Covens, and there were other, I think, invasions going on, if I remember right. And that was when the Mansfield Pact was broken, because they actually invaded. So yes.
Okay.
That was a lot of books ago, Carol.
I'll have to reread that one.
I know. I need to go.
Are you going to put it in a crossword or something, Carol?
No kidding. It's like, what? Yeah, I'll go back to my crosswords. I probably did put it in there.
I need to get it into the timeline too. I have all these books that aren't on our timeline that I need to get into the timeline. But so if you do reread it, let me know, and we'll just have you throw it on the timeline. Anyway, so anything else you guys want to talk about before I punt you some of Carrie's really cool questions?
I was just thinking of when Isadora was at the Library of Berk, and it kind of saved her and helped people out and stuff. That was great.
Yeah, the Great Library of Berk has some of the same characteristics as Wild Rose in the fact that it protects the people that are inside.
Yeah, it does. I've thought about that a lot. I'm like, oh no, have I made them
but
magic? But
I don't feel like it does though. For me, there's only that they both have some sort of magical thing, but for me the heart of the magic is different, and like Wild Rose doesn't have the same sort of sentience as I feel like the Library of Berk does, but that's just me.
I think
you know what I mean. Like,
I think more has been revealed about the Great Library of Berk because of Caroline, right? Like Caroline speaks to the library, and so we've seen more of that, and you have ideas for the Great Library of Berk. that might be coloring here a little bit. I'm not super
Lila, do we have to talk? No.
She has ideas. The other thing with the Great Library of Berk and Wild Rose is I've noticed that they're really close in magic, right? Like one kind of mimics the other. And I've thought a lot about that. And I'm not sure yet if that's on purpose or not. So it'll be interesting because I might have an idea where they're related. But you know what I mean? Like there's something brewing under the surface there. So I haven't decided.
The Great Library of Berk does a lot more things, like, you know, how it creates a room, it creates tea, and it does different things like that and leads them to different rooms. So it seems like it does a little more than Wild Rose does.
Wild Rose seems,
and I love that,
exclusive, right? Like it's focused on its master and the people that are like, it calls people to it. Like it's a little more, it's smaller and more single focused, where the Great Library of Berk is much older. So it has a lot more power behind it, I think. But again, I haven't figured out the magic system yet, so I'm just writing what comes to me.
Well, it's like, because you mentioned in book 4 about the fact that, you know, there's even witches running around out there looking for the grimoires and stuff. Have
Mhm.
you ever released a photo of the library to... What was that one? What
What do you
what
say?
did well, I was
It's
trying to
still-
read what Garrett wrote.
I had
Oh,
a feeling the grimoire was going to end up in Wild Rose.
oh yeah. Was that inevitable for you guys, or did that surprise you that Max actually had it all along?
Oh, I
It
knew
didn't
it.
surprise me. I remember that
What
book.
the heck are
but-
you doing?
You did
Max,
remember the
think
book,
about it.
Diane? Diane,
I
you
knew
said
he
you
had that book, you know, I think I kind of thought about it a couple times because he had that book when Wally gave it to him.
good for you
I
guys.
liked how he hid it. After he read it, he hid it. I wanted him to get rid of it, send it somewhere.
I'm actually really interested by the team at the Great Library
Yeah,
that goes around
that's what I was saying.
finding
Yeah.
grimoires in
Yeah.
their counter. I was like, that's a
That's
fun
what I was
task
saying.
force.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was loving, was the interest of the witches that are running around looking for them. You
Yeah.
know, like,
I was
yeah.
like, there's
And
a
I
book
just said,
there.
ooh,
That'd be a fun series of
Mhm.
stories.
yeah.
Like almost
Well, it was
cozy
fun to
mystery
realize
night.
there was a counter to this, because when you think about if that's such evil magic, to have the counter is going to have to be really, really, really good. And
Mhm.
wow, that magic, that magic almost makes you want to look at the magic that is in Wild Rose or the magic that is in the Great Library of Burke, because that is it protects so well. It's so opposite of what Teddy the Turd wanted to do with it.
Eddie the Turd.
Well, it also brings up questions of, because if you consider the rule is right, there's balance in all things, right? So you have good magic, bad magic, and then you destroy the bad magic with the good magic. But in doing so, like at least in my head, this doesn't have to be true. Both are destroyed, right? So you're destroying the other. So there's this argument that if Sumerian magic is so bad, but its counter would be so good, is it worth destroying the counter, like the good magic, to get rid of the bad? Like what if there is so this is my problem. This is why there will never be an end to Alcara. What if there was like a bad magic that they kept because the good magic was so good, but then the bad magic gets out, and then in the end, you know what I mean? And then in the end, they have to decide, what do we want more? Now I'm like, oh crap, there's another book. And then I had this idea, like, what if there was like a task force that was looking for all these like bad
Yeah, but
grimoires and then the matching good grimoires, and there's so many things we could do that. So
oh, I was so
But
excited
you know
by
what?
that. I was so, because for me, I love all that sort of adventure stuff and questing stuff, and that's one of the things I liked about, like, when B and Merrick, they went on a trek, and when you had when they go out on their assignments and stuff, and things like that, I enjoy those when they do that. So that task force for me is kind of like that, but a whole story in it,
yeah, totally.
with every
But
time
you
they
know
go
what?
out looking. Yeah.
It got me thinking, what was that task force doing when Bianca was looking for the white book, the book that
Oh,
was
yeah.
against the other, the one that Mabel had? Where were those guys when we needed them in the future?
But maybe it is no more, right? Like maybe that task
Yeah, that's in the future.
destroyed. I don't know. Maybe they all give up their lives and eventually destroy the Sumerian magic grimoire. That's where it is. I know. I wish I had known all of this when I wrote the network series. Lita probably would have been working at the Great Library Burke sooner if I knew it existed. Like, that's the problem when you write your first book in the middle of an entire fantasy world that you don't know exists.
But there's something really nice and beautiful, I feel, about going back and forth, because it kind of makes it, for me anyway, less linear time and more like a tapestry that you're going, oh, and this, and then that wove because of this, and then those threads came to do this. Do you know what I mean? So there's like this expansive map kind of thing rather than just it starts here and you follow it all the way along to there, you know, which is what the chronological writings do.
That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, it obviously is working fine because you're still here. So it's working out that way. Anything else you guys have thought of? Anything else you want to talk about? I am curious if no one has anything, what you're expecting like from book 5 or future books. Is there anything you want to see or anything that you're wanting?
I had a question.
Yeah.
Sana, she can hear the North Dragons, but she still can't hear the Wood Dragons. Am I understanding that correctly? But she, the North God had to ask the South Goddess like permission to give her that power. So why doesn't Dea Silver just give her back that power?
Yeah.
Like I didn't understand.
That's what I want to know.
Goddesses, and you know, you let's face it, guys, it's like there's a place where we don't always understand and know the machinations of the deities and stuff like that, and they have a further view of what's going on. So, you know, that's how I look at it anyway.
Right. Yeah. I just didn't know if there was a reason like that. De Silva's like, no, you don't get to talk to your dragons. You can talk to hers.
But it was Cersei giving her the ability, though. It wasn't Dea Silva giving her the ability. It was Cersei giving her the ability. So it was using Cersei's magic, not Dea Silva's magic.
Yeah, but I found it unfair that it was just she only got to talk to Ludius, and then Cersei comes and she lets her talk to all of them. I thought that was kind of unfair, and like, woo, you know.
Well, I just thought of it. The colors that she's seeing. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, where's this going?
So there is a point in the network series. I can't remember if it's, I think it's in the High Priest's Daughter, or it might be in the short story with Merrick. I haven't found it yet because I haven't looked. But there's a moment where Sana, I'm pretty sure Bianca says to Sana, how do you know? Like, how you can't see? And Sana goes, oh, you can't see them or something. And Sana goes, can't I? And she kind of makes this insinuation that she can see them. And even back then, I knew that Sana was gonna, obviously we knew Sana was gonna lose her sight because she was blind then, but in my head, Sana has always seen the dragons and lines of light. So once I had decided to go into the Sisterwitches series, I, from the beginning, was like, when, why, and where is Sana going to start seeing this? And that will be answered. And Garrett, your question is actually going to be answered also. But it really comes down to, it's just Dea Silva's choice, right? Like, Dea Silva could grant Sana this gift, but Sana's never asked her. Sana's never said, can I talk to all the forest dragons? Sana's really recalcitrant with the goddess. Like, she's grateful for Ludius, but she's never like actually asked Dea Silva if she could have the thing, but she did ask Cersei, and Cersei granted it to her. So Sana's never asked, first of all. But Dea Silva also, like what Lila said, Dea Silva also sees like what's coming, because you know, she of all goddesses has this amazing watcher magic that she has created over all the eons of her eternities. So she knows what's coming for Sana, and she wants to challenge and like have her witches grow and learn. So Dea Silva is kind of a harder goddess to deal with because she actually makes, you know, you go through stuff.
You work for it.
Yeah, like you work for it. But also Sana's never asked. So this will all kind of round out by the end. There are some questions that I went into the Sister Witches series knowing would have to be answered. And some of them were like, does Sana see them and why? Like, because Dea Silva's never explained like why Sana can see the lines of light that form the dragons. And Sana, again, has never asked, but Dea Silva, it is magic. It is Dea Silva giving her this ability to see, right? And there's all sorts of like themes and meanings you can draw from that on any spiritual level you want, right? Or just emotional level. how we're granted things we don't ask for, and then we don't ask for the things we most want, and all we had to do is ask, like there's underlying themes there.
And then that thing, Katie, too, where it's like, and sometimes you ask and ask and ask and you're not given,
right?
Like not in the way that you yeah,
right?
So yeah,
Isadora is going to be even more tested in book 5. She's
wow.
I hope I never meet Isadora. She's really gonna hate me.
Oh no.
Like on the Blaster and Blades, when they asked that question of what would your characters do or say to you if they ever met you in that dark alley?
I was like, I wouldn't survive. Like if Bianca came at me, wouldn't be pretty, that's for sure. Yeah, anyway, so that's a great question, Garrett. And it comes down to those two things. Sana's never asked, and Dea Silva has always been a more challenging goddess. Like she expects more and expects like her witches to learn, where really the other goddesses don't interact as much with their witches, like Prana. I'm not sure on Serena yet. She hasn't really let me know, but we're gonna find out more about Serena as the books go on, I think.
Oh, so we don't have to wait for back in Bianca's time to have more about the goddesses. They're going to come up more in the Sister Witches.
I just have a feeling that Serena is going to come up in The Witch Without Magic.
Yeah. Cool.
So I don't know. I'm not in charge.
You may pass to her, she may not.
I guess Serena and Dea Silva are the closest of the goddess sisters, so I see them being a little bit like the other ones in that way, but Serena's got other stuff going on, so we're gonna have to figure out how all that works. But anyway,
but book 5,
because she
guys,
had a love affair that
my
we
God.
have to find out about.
Yep. Exactly.
Did you catch that, Carol?
What'd you
No,
say?
baby girl, what'd you say?
Oh my God, book 5. I'm a dragon, I'm a dragon, I'm a dragon.
Oh, my dragon!
It's like, woo-hoo.
Oh no.
But do have your tissue boxes, Ren.
I know. It's in all of them. Like from here on out, there's so many. There's like a rotating wheel of people buying.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
somebody
no,
said something about crying. I'm like, oh
beautifully.
my God, I'm crying already.
It's like Gilbert though. Like some people like just
Hang in there, Diane, hang in there.
like Pearl's not gonna last
Hard to read
forever.
when you're crying.
I know. I'm gonna. Yeah. Don't feel bad,
But
Diane.
I was crying over the beautiful, I can't tell you stuff, but the beautiful descriptions and the feelings of what Katie's writing was evoking, and the way she narrated
Book 4 or
was
book 5?
evoking in me. Book
No.
5
This
that
is
you're
book
coming,
4 book club.
No.
This is
I'm
book
just
4 book club.
teasing you and saying book 5, because you have a look. Have a look. You've only got 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
2 more weeks, and you get to have book 5.
Well, actually, remember Coffee with Katie
And
early.
I know. I was going to say that, but I wasn't my
You
place.
get the book early. So Louise is pulling the proofreads together today or tomorrow, and then as soon as she's done with that, like I'm happy to send the ebook to you guys. The audiobook we're sending to get certified. So you could have it well before 2 weeks for sure. We just have to get it finalized and done. So yeah, we'll get it to you guys early. So always come to Coffee with Katie because you're gonna get the book.
Yes, please.
So good.
And 5 is a roller coaster for sure. I'm trying to remember what happens.
I have one issue because the doctor is gonna come by kind of like in like 5 minutes to give us the diagnosis of today's tests for my dad. But I have a big issue with you friend zoning Jessie too much. I mean, I know we have time, and I know the friend zone can be broken because one of my friend mates from school, she was, I mean, her now husband, who by the way is one of the candidates to be president of my country, was after her for like the whole time during law school. And then the last year of law school, she finally gave in. And now they are happily married. They have 3 kids, 1 set of twins. And so the friend zone can be beaten. You can beat the friend zone.
No.
Garrett, quiet. Shush. No, Garrett. no, Gary, no, Gary, no,
I'm just going to
no,
write friend zone
no,
and then I'm going to send it to you, Andy.
no.
Andy, we'll give you this one because you're going through a lot with your dad. We'll let you have the last word.
All right, thank you so much. All right, the doctor's here, guys. So
Okay, good luck. Let us know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let us
Bye.
know, Andy.
Got you.
So will Isadora always be in the wrong place at the wrong time?
Yeah, that was funny. Why are you always?
Oh, that's right, because she was at the library, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah, drove Max crazy.
Is she in the
Do you
fifth?
really, do you try to do this?
I know.
Why are you always in the wrong place at the wrong time?
I love that. For me, I love that because it's the sort of thing that does happen, doesn't it? It's just like some people are just always in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I
You
love
know?
that she made Max take 5 breaths.
Yeah, I know.
That was
Take
funny
5
as
breaths
all
before
get
it
out.
comes in. Then she's like, "Did you take
I
5
know.
breaths?"
I don't think
All
you took 5 breaths. but
Are you
need
sure
2
you
more.
took all 5 or this is not going to work?
Oh, that had me laughing. His
You know, there's-
resignation is my favorite.
Was it Braxton that stopped him? I can't remember who stopped him and said, "You have to take 5 breaths."
Griffin.
Is it
was Griffin.
Griffin did.
Griffin? She said, "You have to take 5 breaths. You can't go in."
And he's like all awkward about it, like, sorry. Like,
Well, and I was really surprised. I guess I was really surprised that Felicity chose Griffin. That would not have been my first choice for a high priest.
Yeah. Also keep in mind
But
that we have a central network leadership that has to take a really nasty nosedive in Mildred's resistance.
Oh.
Right? Like we are building closer and closer to Mildred with every book. Like Mildred, I think, is already born, or no, not yet. I think in the timeline she's born in like book 8 or something. So we're moving. We have to start moving into a place where it all makes sense, because we actually had a really great leader in Charlie, and Charlie and Felicity were really great together. But you can't just like have a really powerful bring in a really awful and it just doesn't make sense, right? So there has to be a series of events that I've been mapping out that then make it so when Donovan hits highest witch, it makes sense how he got there, right? Because you're gonna see it play out. Like you actually in book one of the books coming up, you meet Donovan, like the high priest in Mildred's resistance, as a council member's assistant. So like you'll start to, like Max meets him, right? So you start to see everything that is in Mildred's resistance and in the network series setting up. So part of it is, I think, like he didn't make the most sense, but in a long-term perspective, it did make sense, right?
Yeah.
Like Felicity still had only been in power for a couple years before Charlie, if even that, before Charlie handed it to her, right? And so she honestly was kind of a control freak, and she knew Griffin would give that to her. So she took her chance, and then Griffin will have his moment. But it's going to be interesting as we slide to Mildred's resistance. Like, oh, it's so fun. Like building it all up to like make sense. You guys are going to love it. It's so fun. It's a little.
So was Greta before this? Or is Greta coming up?
Yeah, Greta was before this. Yeah. She was with Max and the Advocate. She was the.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Charlie was her. It was an assistant or something, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then she made him.
I think it's a book I'm reading now. It's book 7. We start meeting like May. And
oh my God.
The original Evil School for
We
Girls.
have to have another evil person.
Well, I know we have to bring her in somewhere.
Have some more evil people.
Well, but also remember, Isadora is working for the network in Miss Mabel's School for Girls, right? So there's all these like really fun things that are setting up. So it's going to be really fun at the end of the series, because you're going to start meeting known characters and you're going to start seeing it actually building, and you know exactly what it's building to. So it's so fun. Like having so much fun plotting these. Like, oh my gosh, and then we have to do this. So I'm like on the plane cackling as I'm like flying out. I'm like so delighted. And I'm pretty sure the guys next to me were like,
yeah. They were moving away.
I know.
Ma'am, miss, she's going nuts.
Yeah.
Miss,
Please
can you-
help. She's tackling like a witch. And I'm like, and I am. No, I'm anyway, so yeah, so it's gonna all wrap up and it's all gonna make sense and it's gonna be really fun. I'm so excited. I'm excited about all the books, but these like final 4 are just so cool because there's so much already established stuff that we know. I can't believe it's 3 minutes to 8.
No way! What the
Time
heck?
flies with you guys.
Where did that hour go?
I don't know.
Man.
Alcara, it does that to you.
Do you know what? I've
Go ahead, Lila.
I can't stop since I said it the other day. I can't stop saying Alcara made me do it. Like when I'm doing stuff, I go, Alcara made me do it. Like
So
I just love it.
It's crazy. It's like an Alcara thing because the other day I was on my 3rd hour of writing and I sat down and I was like, I'll probably just do half an hour here. And I was writing and it was really good and I was like really into it and I was writing and I was like, okay, it's probably been 20 minutes. Like I probably have like 45 minutes left. And I had 3 minutes left in my hour. An entire hour had gone by and I literally thought it had been like 13 minutes and I was like, no, that has to be wrong. And I like reset it and it was an hour. Like it was set for an hour and it's like I had no comprehension of that hour passing, right? Like I was like,
that's so cool.
I don't know if this is good or bad thing. Like I'm not sure what to think about this.
Is that your Katie
As long
math?
as you have a laugh.
Katie math.
Katie math. Yep. Katie math.
Totally Katie math. Anyway, any final thoughts or questions or observations or hopes and dreams for Brooke?
I love our baby Will.
Yes.
We didn't even talk about
Beautiful whelp. Agreed.
the little whelp. You guys all know that that's the blue dragon in Alcara Awakening, right?
Now we do.
Yeah.
Just
I don't remember that name. I don't remember that name.
Well, no. So there's also a reason. All of this just comes together. There's a reason that no one knows the dragon's names by Bianca's time.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, what?
I know.
Oh man.
But also think about it. Like Sana knows their names, but Isadora, no one else would know the dragon's names because they can't communicate with them, right? So it wouldn't make sense for any witch outside of Sana to know these dragons' names unless they were told. So Bianca would be like, it's the blue dragon, it's the red dragon, you know? So
Is that the blue dragon that she is getting like poached? She say, oh my goodness.
Yeah. So now you have to go reread the network series. After you read this, you're gonna have to go read Mildred's in the network series because Karis is the blue dragon that Bianca saves, and then that ends up dying in the final battle. Sana's riding him for the networks, like when the Clavas are coming in and the dragons are fulfilling their vow against the Almoran magic.
I blocked that out.
You forgot about that, is what you
I'm
said?
just gonna have to tell my husband I'm taking a week off, honey, and I'm just going to Alcara. I'm sorry. See you later.
There will be an Alcara in the next life, and all of us will be there. That's what I'm working for. Yeah, so Karis actually is the one that Sana's writing, the big blue dragon that dies at the finale of War of the Karis.
Wow.
And he's Ludius's son. Don't you love it? Now we have to go reread it. You know what we need to do when the Sister Witches is done is do a read through of the network series together and just have like
that'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
But let me go do that first to make sure I cover everything. Anyway, well, thank you all for coming. Book clubs are my favorite. And we are probably by next week, if you can hop on with coffee or with Katie, or just email me if you want the early edition. I'll just leave your email in my inbox until we have the files, just depending on when Louisa had exams. But I assigned her the task today and she's usually pretty good. So I think probably within the next couple days, we'll have the final ebook files I can send your way. So you can start reading Sister Witches book 5 a little bit early. Carol and Lila, you both have, Carol, you listened to it, right? You got it early to help because Debbie was sick. Yeah, so I think we're just about good to go because all the proofreads came in. I have to keep it all track in my head. So we'll get you those early ones. So if you just want to shoot me an email, then I'll leave it in my inbox until we have the files and then I'll send it to you. And I think that's it for now. We'll have more information on the Kickstarter coming out here soon. Bianca the Brave, the kids' book, is amazing. Lila finished the cover and it's awesome. And I'm trying to think that's it. So all of you go forth into the rest of your evening and have a good night. I'm gonna go hang out in Alcara and write in book 7. And we'll see you Monday night for live writing with Katie.
Sounds great.
Cool. I'm gonna go.